Okay, so we are talking about how mass is conserved in a chemical reaction, and we can see that in a chemical equation. And this next demonstration will hopefully get us kind of understanding that and discussing how mass is conserved and how atoms are just rearranged. Okay, whatever you see in the product side, you're going to see end up in the reactant side, but basically the atoms are being rearranged. Okay, and that also reminds us that atoms aren't created and they're not destroyed in a chemical reaction. All right, they're just rearranged, and that goes along the whole idea that mass is being conserved. So this demonstration is going to remind us that, kind of get that discussion going, and then it's also going to set us up for the lab that you will be doing. Okay, so I went ahead and I actually measured out 10 milliliters of vinegar. Okay, so I already did that part, but basically I used our graduated cylinder, measured out 10 milliliters of white vinegar, and then I poured it into this cup so that it was ready to go. Now it asks for a 50 milliliter graduated cylinder, but we actually have one that is 100. Okay, we're just going to take note and maybe even mark where our 50 milliliters is, because that is kind of important in the demonstration and the lab. All right. Then next, okay, we have our vinegar in a small cup. Okay, and we are going to go ahead and add 1 drop of dish detergent and swirl it gently to mix. Alright, so I have my dish detergent and a dropper. Okay, so my dropper's right here. Okay, and I'm just going to go ahead and all we need is 1 drop. Okay, so I'm going to set this to the side. Put my lid back on so it doesn't spill if I accidentally bump it. Okay, a lot of this we're just getting the lab set up, making sure we have everything that we need, making sure that our environment is safe and ready to go. Okay, so next I'm going to add, oh, actually I forgot to gently swirl our vinegar and our 1 droplet of soap. Swirl just to mix it, but I'm not spilling any of it. Okay, next we're going to add half a teaspoon of baking soda to our empty graduated cylinder. Alright, so half of a teaspoon. Okay. Alright, so we have our vinegar in our cup with 1 drop of soap. Now we have our half teaspoon of baking soda. Okay, next we're going to make sure that our graduated cylinder is over a plastic waste container. That way it's easier to clean up and get rid of the waste when we are all done. Okay, next it says pour the vinegar and detergent from the cup into the graduated cylinder, and you're supposed to observe the level of the foam in the graduated cylinder. So I'm going to go ahead and take a look. Okay, and right about here is 50 milliliters. Okay, and I'm actually going to go ahead and mark it because I don't know if you can see that on the video. Okay, so 50 milliliters. Okay, hopefully you can kind of see a black mark right there. Alright, and I'm going to pour the vinegar and the dish detergent into our graduated cylinder. Okay, so here's our 50 milliliter mark, and you can see it's going well beyond that. Okay, so we've now reached past 100 milliliters. And it is still rising. Okay, so that foam is continuing to rise. Again, we only had 10 milliliters of vinegar, 1 drop of detergent, and we had half a teaspoon of baking soda. Okay, so the foam went above. Okay, it's slowly rising, but it's starting to kind of stop. And so, as you can tell, here's our 50 milliliter mark, and our foam rose well above that. If I had a 50 milliliter graduated cylinder, it would have gone over. Okay, so basically you can kind of see the reaction between that amount of the reactant side and what was produced.